mesure, le gouvernement peut l'accompagner. Le même journal s'intéresse au sida et titre la courbe de contamination en baisse à Yambaka. Eh bien, c'est une révélation faite au cours d'une réunion avec les leaders communautaires tenue le 20 novembre 2023. Je vous invite à parcourir la page 4 pour plus de détails. Voilà, c'est tout pour la lecture des unes en langue française. Place actuellement à la découverte des autres tabloïds en anglais avec toi, Lasha Kinsley. Une fois de plus, bonjour.
Thank you so much, Etape Content. Let's kickstart this morning with the Median newspaper. The Median is interested in the piece of information talking about takeover of Eniu by the government of the Republic of Cameroon. And Eniu wants 160 billion francs CFA according to the Median newspaper. This morning, the Median newspaper, like I told you, is focusing on that piece of information. And observers are saying that the money is too much and the government should negotiate. According to the newspaper, in view of contract termination, Eniu asked Cameroon to pay amazing CFA 160 billion. Observers, like I just told you, say this amount is unrealistic, given the many shortfalls witnessed since 10 years of Eniu's presence here in Cameroon. They urge the government to negotiate a fair deal. Find the details of that piece of information on page 5 of this edition of the Median newspaper. Now let's talk about the memo that was addressed to the Speaker of the Lower House of Parliament, Kavayege Jibri, by Northwest MPs. We told Kavayege Jibri has told these Northwest MPs to hold their peace. And of course, Kavayege Jibri told them during an audience he granted this MP of the Northwest region of the country recently. Read the full details of what they discussed with Kavayege Jibri and what he told them in this edition of the newspaper, precisely on page 3. Like I told you, he has said that they should hold their peace when it comes to those grievances that they tabled at the cabinet of the Speaker of the Lower House of Parliament. We take you to this other headline that has to do with the 22nd anniversary of the Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post itself this morning is focusing on the outing of the Minister of Communication, who doubles as government spokesperson. Rene Emmanuel Sadi was at the celebration, the 22nd anniversary celebration of the Guardian Post newspaper. Communication Minister, like I told you, said the Guardian Post newspaper is the best newspaper in Cameroon. If we go by what the minister said, as I just told you, Rene Emmanuel Sadi said the Guardian Post newspaper is the best newspaper in Cameroon. The minister made the assertion Friday, November 24 in Yaoundé. This was during a splendid ceremony to acclaim or celebrate the 22nd anniversary of the said newspaper. Speaking at the event, the member of government saluted the touring influence and the professionalism of the Guardian Post in Cameroon's media landscape. He encouraged the Guardian Post's publisher, Editor-in-Chief Nga Christian, and his staff to maintain this team for the good of society and Cameroon. Still, in this edition of the newspaper, we're taking you now to the Northwest region to talk about the attack or different attacks perpetrated by Ambazonia fighters. Suspected Amba fighters, according to the newspaper, opened fire on bar in Bamenda, killed at least 4 persons. The newspaper is telling us that Nigerian movie star Sylvester Madu has cheated death in Bamenda in the restive Northwest region of the country. According to the newspaper, this is after an armed attack on a popular drinking spot at My 3 in Kwen, Bamenda 3 subdivision, suspected to have been perpetrated by Ambazonia fighters. The attack occurred at about 10 p.m. on Saturday, November 25. It left at least 4 persons dead and huge material damage. According to eyewitness accounts, the armed men were on a mission to kidnap the Nigerian Nollywood actor who was in Bamenda to take part in the shooting of a movie titled Abakwa. Find the details of that piece of information on page 3 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. We stay in Bamenda this time around. We are in Ngokutunja division to talk about what suspected Amba fighters have done in Balinkumbat. We told that they kidnapped, killed Balinkumbat deputy mayor. Gunmen suspected to be Ambazona fighters murdered the principal of Government Bilingual High School GBHS Mbekong in Bamunkandop. That's in Ngokutunja division of the Northwest region. Percy Christopher Doba, he was kidnapped and later killed, as we are told by the said newspaper. Read the full details of the demise of the deputy mayor of Balinkumbat in this edition of the newspaper, precisely on page 9. We now leave the Guardian Post newspaper. We are taking you to the Post newspaper. The Post newspaper this morning is interested in the outing of Dr. Aristide Monono, who says no party can beat the CPDM in current electoral system in the country. Find the details of the outing of the doctor in this edition of the newspaper, precisely on pages 6 and 7, talking about the electoral system of Cameroon, where Dr. Aristide Monono has said no party can beat the CPDM in the current electoral system in Cameroon. We are in Bamenda to talk about the attack perpetrated by gunmen on a popular drinking spot. The gunmen targeting Nigerian movie star Storm Snack Bar killed many. If we go by the article, on the night of Saturday, November 25, about 11 p.m., gunmen who described themselves as separatist fighters on bikes stormed a popular snack bar at Mile 3 in Kwen in Bamenda 3 subdivision, spraying bullets indiscriminately. The attack took the lives of 4 girls, 2 boys, and of course a woman selling cigarettes at the door, and others who were partying that evening. Several persons sustained serious injuries. One of those ferried to the Nkwen District Hospital died, according to sources. And of course, the receptionist at the level of the Nkwen District Hospital said the nurses and doctors on duty that night tried their best. And of course, those that were brought in finally died. Read the full details of the attack on page 2 of this edition of the said newspaper. Now we take you to Municipal Updates. Municipal Updates newspaper is interested in the latest decision coming from the national chairman of the positioned political party in the country. We are talking about the SDF political party, where the national president, O.C. Joshua, has fired his secretary general and appointing John Donatus as the new secretary general of the said political formation. We are told the 2 separate communiques were signed by O.C. Joshua recently. Read the full details of the profile of the new secretary general of this SDF political party on page 2 of this edition of Municipal Updates newspaper. We stay with Municipal Updates newspaper to talk about the attack in Bamenda, where prominent Nollywood actor Sylvester Madu cheats death. The newspaper tells us 7 others killed in a suspected Amber attack on a drinking spot in that part of the country. Read the full details of the attack on page 3 of this edition of Municipal Updates newspaper that you can find on newspaper kiosk this morning. We end with the Horizon newspaper. The Horizon newspaper is interested in the outing of CDC general manager, who has said any worker who does not go to work on Monday will be considered as absent. Read the full details of the outing of the general manager of Cameroon Development Corporation, CDC. See, in this edition of the newspaper, you will get what Cameroon has secured as loans from the World Bank. Cameroon gets 570 billion World Bank loan for 3 developmental projects in the country. The revelation was made recently as the vice president for the said institution for West and Central Africa went visiting the Star Building, where he met with the Prime Minister, head of government, Chief Dr. Joseph Diongote, and it was revealed over 570 billion is money that will be given to Cameroon for 3 developmental projects in the country by the World Bank. Thank you so much, televiewers on My Media Prime. We are back in the studio to continue with our discussions this morning. You can call us and tell us what you think about some of those headlines that the newspapers have for us this morning. But meantime, we already joined by Dr. Asong Henry, who is a lecturer in one of the universities in South Africa. He's joining us via Skype. Good morning, doctor, and welcome.
Good morning, Kingsley, and thank you for having me on the program. I think I'm a little bit late today. I ran into some traffic congestion.
Okay, we're glad you finally joined us. But meantime, we are focusing on this attack in Bamenda. Some people have blamed the attack on the carelessness of organizers of that movie who brought in the Nigerian actor Sylvester Madu to take part in a movie titled Abakwa, where they went drinking at a popular snack bar up to 10 p.m. when the gunmen stormed that area, shooting to death at least 6 persons.
It's really sad that gunmen again took out the life of some future leaders of Cameroon or young entrepreneurs who have been struggling to make ends meet. And it goes back to what we have all been crying for. How long? And like I saw in most of the news, the headlines, suspected amber, suspected amber. When we keep using this terminology, suspected amber, no one is ready to put an end to this stuff. And I think it's no longer time for us to be saying suspected amber or whoever. It is time for us to say no to the killings. It is time for us to stand up. I think the government has been doing best, but I think it is time now for government to take a very drastic stand on this issue. So, and of course address the root cause of this problem.
Are you saying that,
no matter what it is, yes, we are going to suffer the same cause?
Doctor, are you saying that government is soft on the crimes, the current crimes that are ongoing in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon? Because before that attack at the popular snack bar, we've had the case of Manu, where you had that Ebako village. So many people were attacked and killed from there. We also learned of Kumbu, where a vice principal was taken and killed. Now we are talking about the third deputy mayor of Balikumbat, who was also a principal in one of the government bilingual high schools. He was also kidnapped and later killed. Is government soft on tackling crimes in the northwest and southwest?
What I'm saying, the government is trying its best to tackle crime in the northwest and southwest province. But my view is that if the problem is not, the root cause of the problem is not addressed, if we can have a genuine dialogue, the root cause of this problem is addressed, and everyone is happy, I am telling you, this issue of gunshots and crime is going to disappear. The reason why these things are still happening sporadically is because people are not yet happy with the position of the government. People are not yet happy with the role the government has played so far. And so they allow these criminal elements in their communities. If government can sit down and listen to the people and take a bottom-top approach, implement what the people are going to tell the government, so this is how we want things to be run. I'm telling you, the people are going to work hand in hand with the government to eradicate these criminal elements. But insofar as that problem is not addressed to the root cause, if we keep on trimming the leaves, trimming the flowers, then the root is still there. We are not doing anything. So we are still going to continuously have the appearance and disappearance of men and women, Cameroonians. We are still going to have this systemic killing by criminals, criminal elements. So to put an end to this criminal element is for all the people to be on the government side. And if the people have to be on the government side, the government has to come down, look at the root cause of the problem, and take the people's contribution into the solution problem. If the government only wants to propose solution, implement its own solution, what it thinks is best for the people, when they are not on the ground, then it's a nightmare. I'm telling you, we are not going anywhere. This thing can continue like this for the next 20 years, and we will be losing Cameroonians. And we'll be losing the face of the country.
These people are the ones suffering. When you say government, if government does not do what some of these guys want, these people will not collaborate with them. But these people are the very ones suffering. Do they have a choice now? Because it's not government attacking them most often. We've had cases, isolated cases of collateral damage. But this time around, we are talking about attacks where people are attacked, shot and killed in broad daylight.
Okay, it's not government attacking them. If we say they don't have a choice, now it's difficult for them to connive, to fight criminal elements when they themselves are not armed like them. That's one thing we must understand. These are civilians who have been killed. Their source of defense is a police force or the military brigade in whatever the government puts in place. So if people are not happy, then you see that it becomes difficult for them to even defend themselves. For example, you have a lot of villages where there is just no police station. People in such areas cannot report these criminal elements because before government will come into place, they would have what? Killed the people. So what I am saying here is that if we have a genuine dialogue, this problem is solved, everyone is satisfied, there is going to be a slow dismantling and dissemination of these criminal elements. Because at that time, people are happy to say, okay, government said 1, 2, 3, and government is actually doing this to better our lives. So I think that is what the government is supposed to do. And of course, it's time for the government to create more and more police stations around the country or gendarmerie brigades to monitor this this issue.
Yeah, but do you think that would really solve? Let's look at the case of what happened in a community in Galim subdivision, Bambutus division of the west region of the country, where you even had a vigilante group member who went and reported to the military, but there was no timely intervention. The guys still came, attacked and killed the innocent civilians. That's why I asked you whether government is serious on fighting crimes.
I don't think the government policy might be serious from the administrators in Yaoundé, but the implementers of those policies are not serious. Take, for example, what you have just said. Maybe the Delegate General of National Security or the Director of Gendarmerie would have said, okay, whenever there's an uprising of...
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, good morning, Mr. Elisha.
Good morning. Doctor, I'll come back to you. Good morning. So who are you? Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Yaoundé.
Okay.
Mr. Alko.
Okay.
I want to give my... I want to say something concerning that attack in Balenda.
Yes. Your network is bad. It's poor, please. I don't know if you... what is happening? Sorry, I can't keep you, please. Sorry, we're sorry about that. Yes, doctor, I'm back with you. Continue with what you were saying.
Reported a case to the forces of law and order. And from the time of reporting to the time of the intervention, people had been killed. So what I was saying here is the government policy might be serious on fighting crime, but the implementers of that policy are not serious about it. That's the first thing. Number two, the implementers of the policy probably are not well equipped for immediate intervention. That is possible. They might not have enough ammunition on at their disposal. Number three, it's possible that the logistics to allow them to intervene rapidly might not be there. So if government is serious about fighting crime, all these things have to be put in place. Because if a matter is reported, if they had reacted timeously, then they would have averted or prevented the killings. But they took hours to get there. We are not sure if they had good cars on their disposal, good armored cars, or the logistics were there, or they were properly equipped, or they were properly trained to handle situations like that.
Okay.
So when government is serious, all of these things have to be in place. And the willingness of those implementing the policy also is another issue. Everything can still be there, but the commissioner just sits there.
Okay.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Welcome. Your name?
So, I'm Ashu calling from Idina.
Yes, we are listening.
Yeah, I want to talk on what the man on speech is talking about, that there will be police station in every area. I'm not sure that that idea of building police station in all the areas of bringing solution to the crisis. That one is just to endanger the life of people. That one is not, that will not bring any solution. So if you want to contribute or to give ideas, let him give ideas that can bring solution.
So give your own idea. Don't
But we are
condemn
not
his
safe.
without giving the give your own. What is your own idea
Thank
that will
you.
help construct the nation? Don't say if you want to and then you are not saying anything. Say your own. Forget about him. Are you there? The caller is gone. The party, maybe. Doctor is laughing. Yes.
Oui, en attendant d'autres réactions sur ce sujet, mais on va quand même un peu évoluer. Alors, docteur Hasson, le journal Le Soir nous rapporte ce matin que le directeur général des NEO veut escroquer 160 milliards de francs CFA à l'État du Cameroun. Quel est votre commentaire?
Monsieur Kinte, je n'ai pas suivi.
It's talking about the Director General. We are imminent takeover of ENEO by government. ENEO Director General is asking the government of the Republic of Cameroon to give 160 billion francs CFA. And of course, observers are saying that this money is too much. Government should negotiate. How can ENEO, after poor services rendered Cameroonians, be asking government to give 160 billion?
Yeah, I think that itself is it's too much. We have not had perfect ENEO services in Cameroon, so it doesn't make sense to request that amount of.
Good morning.
Yeah, doctor, I'll come back to you. Yes, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
We are listening.
Hello?
We are getting you. Just go ahead and contribute.
Yes, good morning.
Stop listening to your TV set. Just switch it off.
Babata from where?
Yes.
So, concern the crisis, no country in this Africa ever solved the crisis through military, police, gendarme. The crisis can be solved by the civilian, not the military.
Okay. You are gone. Yes. Apparently, our lines are not the best this morning. Dr. Asong, we were talking about ENEO that is asking the government of Cameroon to pay a sum of 160 billion francs CFA for the termination of their contract. And observers are saying that this money is too much. After poor services, quality services rendered Cameroonians for over 10 years, ENEO wants to be compensated 160 billion.
Yeah, that is unrealistic. Very, very unrealistic. Of 10 years of poor service delivery, it's unrealistic. It's unrealistic. I don't think government can go into negotiation, but not negotiating to pay 160 billion to terminate their services. Very, very unrealistic. We never had, as Cameroonians, the best of their services. So, but in another hand, government also must be thinking of what is going to happen when ENEO departs. Are they well prepared to take over? Or whoever is going to come in, is a person going to step up the quality of services? And you might just find that this 160 million that the ENEO is asking, some unscrupulous government officials can be behind it, asking them to inflate that sum of money because they too want to benefit. And that it's not strange for Cameroon.
Yeah, doctor, so in another way, don't you think, because recently, I think it was last year, the company was asking government, there were so many government institutions that were owing the said company. This amount is even smaller than what government was owing ENEO as per what we read in the newspapers. So universities were owing 10 billion. So many government institutions owing in you. Don't you think probably this money is going to pay back the debt that government was owing in you?
How did it come to that situation where so many government institutions are owing a new like that?
They were not paying electricity bills.
The government was not actually holding hard on its institutions to pay, because if a new can say failure to provide services is due to all this debt, then no one can blame them. So even though we are saying the money is too much for the government, but on the other hand, the government also has
no, it's for several years, some 7 years.
So it's a very tough situation.
Some
government
7 years.
Needs to this institution, check what is happening within the institutions, why they couldn't pay before government can do any intervention, because it's a very serious case. They might decide to switch off some of their terminals if government doesn't want to comply. And are we ready for such a situation? The answer is no. So I think let government sit with NEO. All the institutions that have not paid, there should be internal auditing by the government to know why they have not paid. Because probably you might find that some of that money was allocated.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good
Welcome.
Morning. Good morning.
Sorry, I can't keep you.
Good morning,
They are not
sir.
getting
Good
us.
morning.
Please, Mr. Producer, can be doctor continue with the discussion. Yes, like we were saying, some government quarter, but these monies are included in the budget for each ministry or institution in the country. Why should they not pay their electricity bills when it was actually included in their running budget?
That it is this is set as a barometer for the government to audit all its institutions, because definitely, as you said, that money was allocated in their budget at the beginning of the financial year, but it has been siphoned for reasons we don't know. So if government is serious about this, all the state-owned institutions should go under thorough auditing by the institution that the government has put in place to check corruption in the country. And then the recommendations must be made. For example, you can't have a university where an amount of 200 million was allocated for electricity and yet you did not pay it, and you didn't buy gasoline to provide extra generators. Where then did the money go to? From the VC to everyone involved have to explain. Because sometimes we find that we keep on fighting the ministers, we keep on fighting the president, but these people right at the bottom here are the ones causing the pain to the Cameroonian public. So government should audit all its institutions. Those that are found wanting, government should make sure that administration is changed, and those who have siphoned the money should pay back the money, or they face the music in the law court, so that it becomes something that Cameroonians understand that whenever I am given a post of responsibility, I am there to serve the people, not the people serving me or
so
serving my stomach or
to
serving my family.
Doctor, who is going to audit who now? We've seen with COVID gate, we've seen with CAN gate. At the end of the day, nothing happens. So who is going to audit who? Because this money, Enio was clear on this debt that government is owing. It was everywhere in the newspapers. I'm sure we talked about it here sometimes back. We talked about
yes.
Who is going to audit who now?
That is the biggest challenge when you have a government that is not serious on the life of the people. Because we have an institution that has been put in place to as a corruption watch, but yet they are not empowered. They are not giving any logistics to operate on. So it's all about creating institutions that are not working. So I think at this moment, truly speaking, we need an overhaul of the system. Like I saw Dr. Aristide Monono said it, I have said that a couple of times. We need to overhaul the system, and that can only be through elections. And if it's through elections, Cameroonians must stand up and say, look, we need a review of the electoral laws. Because when there's a review of the electoral laws, there's a review of the constitution, that the Constitution guarantees the independence of the judiciary, the independence of the legislature, the independence of the media, and the executive is answerable to the legislature. If we can have that review done in Cameroon, all this mess will come to an end.
Doctor, there's a place. Yes, there's a place that this review has to be done, which is the Parliament, of course. When you say the people, how do you think the people can stand up and these things are done? When their MPs, their people's representatives are there, they are not doing what they were sent there by the people to do. How would that be possible? Because it's only Parliament that can have this done.
It's only the Parliament that can have this done. Mr. Kingsley, if the people of Cameroon stand up one Monday morning in all the 10 provinces and say, you know what, no one is going to work, we need this thing changed, there's going to be a change. We cannot use military intimidation all the time. That one is clear. The only issue is that the system has made it in a way that Cameroonians are even losing interest in their political rights or democratic rights. And so that laissez-faire attitude is taking place. If the Parliament cannot do it, and you go to the Parliament, you fail to deliver. When you come back to Boya, you come back to Bamenda, the people go and say, you know what, we do not want this man again in Parliament. We voted him, but he's not doing what we asked him to do. If we can stand up in all the constituencies, there's going to be a change. It's just that we are scared of government coming with this military intervention. But no government in the world has survived to the end of time by using military intervention.
Yes, we are talking politics. Let's continue talking politics. And this time around, the Post newspaper is also telling us that Cameroonians have condemned Lekie Chief's celebration of Professor Maurice Kamto's political death. He was buried by these chiefs, as per what the newspaper is telling us this morning. Cameroonians have come up publicly to condemn the act of the custodians of traditions in the Lekie division of the Central region of Cameroon. What do you have to say to that, Doctor?
What did they actually do?
They buried Professor Maurice Kamto is everywhere.
They buried him?
Politically, he was buried. The newspaper is telling us this morning that Cameroonians are condemning. Probably you've not seen the images of a coffin with the picture of Professor Maurice Kamto in front of the coffin. A ritual was being performed by Lekie chiefs saying they are burying Professor Maurice Kamto politically, that he's politically dead in Cameroon.
That is the last kick of a dying horse. The people of the South, you know, they are already aware that the mandate of their son they are losing grip of A2D. So what they want to do is political distraction.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir. Welcome.
Yes.
Your name?
My name is all the way from Limbe.
Yes, can you contribute, please?
Yes, Mr. National. I want to thank you for having us come program that we can also make our voices heard. You see, what is happening in our country today is really a shock to us. Because when we are being, life has been, let me say, we lost lives every day. It seems to be as if the government is just taking note of what is happening. It's like they are not even knowing what is happening on the ground. Because if you look at what takes place in 2016, up to date, we have lost thousands of Cameroonians. I'm very sorry that the government in place that was supposed to take care of all the Cameroonians. But right up to now, they are not even taking food. They are killing people every day night.
So we can. Your network is really bad. I can't hear you. I barely hear what you're saying. Sorry, maybe you look for a better position and call us back. Yes, Doctor, we're on Professor Maurice Kamto political death.
Yeah, I think that is just an act conducted by some hungry chiefs who want the head of state to give them some extra pocket money. I mean, in the modern century, people are still believing in things like this. That is bizarre. That is bizarre. They cannot bury Maurice Kamto. They know already that they are about to lose A2D, whether they like it or not. Those are signs to tell you they are about to lose a today. So all these ones they are doing now is like just camouflaging. How can you bury a man's political ambition? Since Maurice Kamto came up with his party, he has been on the ground. The next thing is they will attack him not to come and campaign in the South Province. So that for me, that is just nonsense. Those are not things that Maurice Kamto can take it serious. There is no way they can do those things that will stop people not to vote.
Is it not an insult to Cameroonians?
That for me, that is just a charade to get more pocket money.
Is it not an insult to Cameroonians? And does this not also threaten peace and living together? Because many people might want to see as targeting a particular community, which is bad, and serious action should have been taken against them.
Program. I appreciate it 100%.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good morning, welcome.
Yes, I appreciate the program 100%. More grace to you people able.
Thank you. Where are you calling us from?
Yes, I just want to condemn one word that my brother has just used there. That word of mobilizing people to come out. I don't want to hear that word because so many people are suffering today because of that problem of mobilizing people coming out. So that's my participation. I wanted to participate.
Thank you. That's your opinion. Yes, Doctor, we move on. You comment on what the caller just said before we move on, or clarify on that issue.
Good morning, sir. How are you? Bonjour, monsieur. J'appelle depuis le Gabon.
Ah,
yes. Bonjour.
La ligne est saturée là.
Oui, c'est un fait.
J'appelle depuis le Gabon, c'est pour les missions qui passent.
Oui, vous vous appelez comment et quelle est votre contribution?
Je m'appelle Emilio Nina.
D'accord. Allez-y. On vous écoute.
Oui, par rapport au tuerie qui s'est passé au sud-ouest un jour-ci.
Oui.
Oui, par rapport à...
No, you are listening to yourself. Please switch off your TV set. I can't keep you. You switch your TV set and come back, please. We can't keep you. You are listening to yourself. Yes, doctor. We continue with our discussion. Right on. Somebody called and was talking about what you said about mobilizing people. Maybe he got you wrongly. Can you clarify on that?
What was it? What was his question?
That the word that where people are today is because of this word mobilizing people to come out. That he doesn't want to hear about that word. When you were talking about electoral code.
Yeah. What I was saying is, when we say mobilize people, people have this concept that when people are being mobilized, is to come out and strike, is to come out and throw stones, is to come out and destroy government property. No. When you say mobilize people, one, it entails educating the people and let the people's voice as concerned the electoral code be heard. That's what I'm trying to say, that the electoral code of Cameroon should be determined by the people. And that can be done when the people are mobilized from the grassroots. We can have continuous consultations. That is still part of mobilization. Maybe he didn't get me correctly. But I'm still going back to the issue of the chiefs in Lekki division. That is an act that we need to see the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, coming out to condemn that act. Because chiefs in the West Province are going to do that for Mr. Biya, are going to do that for any other political candidate which they don't like. And this is already an open attack by the Lekki people to the people of West, from where Maurice Kamto is coming from. So this act alone is fueling ethnic tensions. And I guess this is a distraction technique. You might find that the ruling party has masterminded all of this so that Maurice Kamto and other politicians become distracted. They focus on this while the game is being played under the table. So for me, Professor Maurice Kamto should not bother about this. Let him continue his political campaign to see how he wants to win the heart of Cameroonians, to him, to transform the country, or any other political leader. But serious, this is going to fuel ethnic tension.
But there are laws. There are laws that punish such kind of acts in Cameroon. You might want to agree with me. So why?
I agree with you.
Yes.
I agree with you. Even though there are laws, in a democratic society, in a democratic dispensation, at least the Minister of Territorial Administration would have come out to condemn it before the bench, the law takes its course. The leader is supposed, even the Prime Minister and head of government is supposed to have come out and condemned this act. To say no, this is a democratic society. If Mr. Biya has given freedom of speech and freedom of assembly, whatever as they call it, these are not, even if I were Mr. Biya himself, I will condemn this act. It's a barbaric act that is going to fuel tension in the country. It's a barbaric act. I personally, I believe the authorities should speak against it before those chiefs are handed over to the law courts.
Okay. Etape, one last question to Dr. Probably. No, our time is up. We are giving. Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
We hope to have you tomorrow once again on the program. Thank you too to our callers, the different people who call us from other parts of the country to chip in their contribution. And the other caller who called from Gabon, unfortunately, the lines were not the best for him to chip in his own contribution. Today's edition of the program was produced for us by Christian Tebon. It was the very first edition of the program for the week, coordinated by myself, Lasha Kingsley, and with the assistance of Etape Kanten. We are hoping to be back tomorrow for the second edition of the program for the week. Bye-bye from this end.